Right, here's a question where you were asked to solve for a letter. I'm not sure which one in the question people were asked to solve for, but let's pick G. So say I want to know what G is equal to something. First off, G's in the denominator, not a good spot. So I would use the I hate fraction rule. So I'm going to multiply both sides by the square root of f squared g squared, whatever's down there, plus g squared. Okay, so on this side they cancel. So I'm left with square root of f squared plus g squared times h is equal to f. Divide both sides by h. So we get square root of f squared plus g squared is equal to f over h. And then to get at the g, I'm going to have to square both sides. So I'll square this side and square this stuff. So on the left, I'll have f squared plus g squared is equal to f squared over h squared. It's looking a little funny. Okay. Now I'm looking for g, so I have to move the f squared to the other side. So it'll be g squared is equal to f squared over h squared minus f squared. Now at this point, I guess I could get a common denominator and collect these two terms over here on this side. But yeah, I could do that. Or I could leave it like this, and if I'm looking for g, now I would just have to square root both sides. So square root this side, square root this side. So it looks pretty ugly, but you'd, on the left, you get g is equal to the plus or minus square root of f squared over h squared minus f squared. That's sort of a, yeah, it's a fun question, that one. You have to square both sides and square root both sides. Tough one. Now, if this was a quiz and maybe they wanted that combined, so if I had f squared over h squared minus f squared, the common denominator would be h squared. So I'd need to put one there. If I put it there, I need to multiply on the top too. So then I could combine them to f squared minus f squared h squared all over h squared. And then you could do this thing here, the square root thing. I guess another thing you could do on the top there is you could factor out an f squared. So you'd be left with 1 minus h squared all over h squared. Yeah, that might work, eh? And then if you square root that whole thing, you can square root each one of those individually. So it could be square root of f squared, square root of 1 minus h squared over square root of h squared. And so you'd have f times the square root of 1 minus h squared all over h. Guess you could do that too. Nasty question. I like it.